Hey you! Yes you! Are you a nostalgia freak? Do you yearn for a simpler time? Then the WOC Archive is the place for you. We've got footage from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. Culled from an old tape trader's collection bought off Craigslist. You'll find obscure and lost TV, news, interviews, music, sports, and everything in between. And it's all with original commercials. Every day a new tape, every day a new adventure. Subscribe today to the WOC Archive.
And Steve Guttenberg says he starred opposite many beautiful women, but it's really the script that counts for him.
Hello everyone. Welcome to the WOC live stream. Tonight we've got a special show for you. That's right, it's a tribute, but it's not a death tribute. I realized I got messages from people and they were like, is Steve Guttenberg dead? I'm like, no, a tribute doesn't necessarily have to be attributed to a death. But
it's
anyway.
just some people think that he is, and we want to be clear that he's not.
Exactly, that's right. So I kind of buried the lead there, but of course the tribute is for Steve Guttenberg.
Buried.
Yeah. Pun intended. Yes. So yeah, we're talking all about Steve Guttenberg because apparently the media in Los Angeles doesn't know who Steve Guttenberg is. Recently, during the wildfires that were happening in Los Angeles, Steve Guttenberg was featured on the news. He just kind of like walked up to a camera, and they didn't know who he was. So you know what? I think maybe better than me explain it, I've pulled that clip. So let's just watch it quickly to really understand what I'm talking about.
It's an important announcement. I wonder if I could just make here on Palisades Drive. If anybody has a car,
how could you not recognize?
And they leave the keys in the car. So that we can move your car, so that these fire trucks can get up Palisades Drive. Yeah. What's happening is people take their keys with them as if they're in a parking lot. This is not a parking lot.
He knows what he's talking about.
We really need people to move their cars.
So that one guy's like, oh shit, I should go move my car.
Leave the key in there so a guy like me can move your cars and get them up there so that these fire trucks can get up there. It's really, really important.
Thank you for talking to us live, sir. What's your name?
My name is Steve Guttenberg.
Steve, do you live in this area?
I live in the area. I live
in this area.
And thank goodness everybody back. But I have friends up there right now, and they can't evacuate because it's stuck on Palisades Drive.
Yeah.
Look, he's getting info. Yeah, there he just got info from the...
You look familiar to me now.
Yeah.
So, sir, do you have
someone in his
family up
whisper
there?
saying, that
gentleman, he has a mom who's stuck
I still
up
don't
in the
know.
hills.
Yeah,
that's exactly what happened.
There. So we're trying to clear Palisades Drive, and I'm walking up there as far as I can, moving cars.
I mean, we are living in like a totally different generation of people who are not born in North America. That kind of stuff too.
Fair point.
But if you do know Steve Guttenberg, this is not the first time of hearing he's a real community active, like Good Samaritan person who works with so many different charities. He does so much stuff with community theater stuff now. Even when looking him up, thinking of a person who may have disappeared, he has still released a movie every year since Police Academy. Since the first Police Academy, every year he's had a movie except for 2021, and I don't think anyone can hold that against him because I'm sure a lot of people didn't have a movie in 2021.
I mean, that's really impressive to think that he's been a working actor that long. And he was so important in the 80s. I mean, like, think of all the movies they do. He was in Police Academy, of course. There's like, 15 of those, and he's in almost all of them.
I think he's only in the first 4.
No, come on. Doesn't he show up later, or did he just finally give up on it?
No, in part 4, he flies away on a hot air balloon and waves goodbye, and we never see him again.
To the Academy.
To the Academy.
You know, you look a little like Tom Cruise in Top Gun.
But of course, I'm not showing one of the Police Academies. I'm showing another of my favorites, an absolute masterpiece of 80s childhood cinema for me, at least. It's Short Circuit, featuring the wonderful robot creation that is Johnny Five. And I absolutely love Johnny Five.
Laser lips.
I love Johnny Five. I always did. I guess it's probably because he seemed like a 1950s comedian. I think that was like the whole shtick that he was going for, like a Henny Youngman, but just a robot.
Yeah, skinny robotic Don Rickles.
Yeah, he's kind of a skinny robotic Don Rickles.
Less racist.
Yeah. Well, no, the movie. Never mind. Anyway,
yeah.
But it
was the 80s, folks.
I actually got to meet Johnny Five once. I saw him in person. It was an amazing experience. This was when I was shooting one of my documentaries about the Ruby Slippers, and I was visiting different studios and in their archives. And I was at the Sony lot, which is the old MGM studio, and the guy took me into their like prop storage, I don't know, museum area, and I literally walk in and turn the corner, and there he is, just standing there. So here's a picture of me. There you go. There's me and Johnny Five. Of course, my snappy haircut because I was there on business doing a business-related interview. I wanted to look good.
Oh, this is like space NASCAR poster beside.
Oh, it's from what's the Ricky Bobby Talladega Nights.
Oh,
it's
is
like
it?
a poster from Talladega Nights, and they had one of the like small,
like a poster that was in the movie.
Yeah,
like,
I think
where
probably
it was supposed to be real. Right?
Yeah, exactly. So like probably a painting that was on Will Ferrell's wall. But yeah, there's the real Johnny Five. This is the Johnny Five from Short Circuit 2.
Right, you can tell by the red box.
Exactly. Which, you know what? To be honest, I think was a better get for me, considering that I'm from Toronto, and that was famously filmed in Toronto. So that Johnny Five was here in the city that I'm at. So there you go. That's great. I'm
a big fan of Part 2. Part 2, and more than just the Toronto stuff, which obviously clicks with me. But Part 2 just there's a lot more Johnny and a lot less people.
Yes, 100%. They understood exactly what made the Short Circuit films work, was that Johnny Five is the best and he should be the lead, not Steve Guttenberg, even though that's the focus of the Steve Needs show.
Well, and the problem with Part 2 is that they chose more was it Steven Fisher?
Fisher Stevens?
Fisher Stevens, right, yes. Yeah, they chose more of him for that, that's weird, but what can you do?
But I love this movie. I love this movie so much that I actually own a 35 millimeter print of this film that I purchased years ago when I...
That's some class right there.
Yeah, right. When I was working or helping out at a local movie theater and had access to the projection room, I bought a bunch of prints.
For a certain documentary that you did about a review theater back then too, Mr. Documentary.
Yes, the rep. Yeah, I guess I'm
well, not the review, the rep. That's a different...
yes.
The review is a different rep theater.
The
so
review
many reps.
So many reps. All right. Well, of course we are here to talk about Steve, but I think I'm also bearing the second lead, is that Johnny Five to me is much more important than Steve Guttenberg. So I went through...
Any excuse, right?
Yeah, any excuse to just, bring in something else that's super esoteric that maybe not everybody cares about the same way that I do.
How was there never a cartoon series of Johnny Five?
It's true. It's actually really amazing that they didn't make a Saturday morning cartoon. Maybe 2 wasn't as successful as...
Yeah, I don't think it was.
Yeah, which is really too bad, because, I mean, honestly, they could keep that series going forever. That is an evergreen character. I mean, you could put him in so many different situations. Just a sitcom would have been amazing. Imagine...
He was in a commercial not too long ago, I think.
In
was he? 21st century, I think there was some sort of like insurance property commercial or something.
Maybe like a Super Bowl ad or something.
Something like that, yeah. And it did like, classic 80s flashback stuff.
I'll cut to this if I can find that.
Greetings, TV viewers, VCR owners, couch potatoes. Tired of those same old generic video cassettes? Then you'll blow a fuse over Short Circuit 2, now available at your local video store. Got that, bozos?
I went through some of my collection and I dug up a documentary or like a little behind the scenes featurette about the creation of Johnny Five and some of the thought process behind building him, which I think is really interesting considering he has now become such an iconic character, even more iconic than Steve Guttenberg. The creation of number 5 for Short Circuit.
Is a number 5 worse than a number 1 or number 2?
An hour finishing the script.
I don't want to know what a number 5 is. I've had a number 3, and I tell you, I don't want to go any further.
That's when you're like leaning over the bathtub at the same time.
A real
how creepy kind of looks his eyes like that.
The material. Well,
yeah, they kind of, almost made him look evil, because I guess that was the point, right? Was that he's supposed to be like a military robot within the context of the movie.
Right. He's supposed to be something that is evil to turn good.
Yeah, exactly. But then he kind of becomes cute, loving.
Yeah,
I guess he's kind of loving. He falls in love with Ali Sheedy, doesn't he? He gets romantic with Ali Sheedy. Doesn't he like give her flowers at one point?
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
Because he learns it from watching television.
There's a woman whose career didn't go where probably could have either.
Some buttons and having a kind of an arm move into position.
Yeah, she kind of disappeared after the 80s. I mean, that's like a big thing for a lot of 80s actors. they were huge at that point, and then they just kind of didn't do anything after. Not the same way, at least.
Some of them like really grabbed onto the I'm retro cool 80s, and some people didn't want to do that, so they just separated themselves from it.
And so
but she did do that movie with Lance Henriksen and that like cyborg dog.
Oh yeah, Man's Best Friend. Yeah, that movie was really good.
Deal with a lot of the things.
A lot of robot-related things in Ali Sheedy's career. Robot dogs, evil robots.
I know that we're watching this, and I'm just talking about Ali Sheedy, but I saw some airport hostage movie that was really bad from like 1990, and Tackleberry is in it with her, so it's still a connection to Police Academy with her.
Yet at the same time,
it all comes back to Tackleberry.
Kind of anthropomorphic look, looking like man.
Anthropomorphic look.
Looking like man. He wanted this clear robot to look like a man.
Seeing it in the creepy sketch, it makes me think of the Saturn V robot, which looks like a jacked guy with no head.
Yeah.
Like, it had like a creepy like camera for a head.
It kind of looks like the robot from Star Tours as well. I don't know if you remember what that guy looked like.
Johnny 5, Saturn 5. What's with all these fives? Five Alive, all the fruit flavors.
Oh, Johnny 5 definitely drank Five Alive.
And oil.
As well, we'd be able to adjust the hands so that the hands come.
Look at these gripping hands. It wakes me out that he only has 3 fingers.
Think of Total Recall when the cab driver uses his real hand and he's got that.
Yeah, right.
Like that.
Maybe that's where Quado is. He's living in Johnny 5.
Just in that little red box on his shoulder, which I think was just like a toolbox. That
it's the Quado box.
Yeah.
Now this is the wrist actuator.
Correct. This does the same thing as the wrist.
I mean, like, this is awesome. They don't, like, this would be 100% CGI now.
Yeah,
if they were going to do this. And it wouldn't be nowhere near as interesting. It would be able to, like, articulate differently and perhaps, you know, denote more emotion. But the fact that, like, they created this puppet.
But the point was that he wasn't, that he was a robot. So that was where you were supposed to,
right.
like, kind of pull it out of it. It wasn't supposed to just naturally be there.
Exactly. And that's what they would ruin it. It's like when they did the CGI overlay of E.T. and it completely lost any of its, like, I don't know, magic that that puppet had. Puppets work.
Out of people's taste today, the worst thing too would be if they remade it, he'd want to be some crazy looking thing as opposed to something simple, because people would be like, that looks like a thing you could actually make. Like it looks
right.
like, even if it wasn't a sentient robot, as like some sort of drone thing you can control with remotes, or you could build that thing, because you could.
Yeah,
and
100%.
People, the kids today wouldn't find it interesting enough.
Possibilities for personality.
Which I think was the problem of what's the Short Circuit weird remake that was had its initials for like some guy's name. It had it was from the what's that movie called? I want to call it like Hubie or something. But he's got legs in it, and he was South African, and it was
Chappie.
Chappie, right? That's what it was. Yeah.
Hubie, very good.
Yeah, Hubie.
It was close.
Yeah. Right, Chappie makes sense with the accent too now. I just know that the band Diane Word.
Right.
Diane Word was the Steve Guttenberg and Ali Sheedy of that movie.
We'll hopefully see how it works, and we can get some surprise or shock or.
I mean, like, look at this. The detail, the thought process, but the fact that it's a real thing is just amazing. Like, this isn't just somebody creating this on a computer. And not to, like, dismiss the creative ability of CGI artists and stuff, but, like, this to me is so much more fascinating.
You know what it would have locked this into pop culture more than just being like an 80s fan base thing for people like you and I who also love the Goonies and then love this?
Yeah.
The rest of the world would love it if it was voiced by either Paul Rubens or Jim Carrey.
Yeah, true.
If it was done a couple years later and Jim Carrey was the voice of it, then people would be remembering it to this day as being like a huge thing.
That's you're probably not wrong.
Because I don't know who is the voice of Johnny, but it's a real recognizable voice. Like, we all know the way he talks. It makes me think it's like Ron Paulson of like the LA Animaniacs voices and stuff like that. But
it might be.
Yeah, I think it's a somewhat known voice actor, but it's not like a famous actor.
Nothing stops him, okay?
Nothing stops
This just
him.
inspired all the BattleBot stuff in the 90s.
Number 5's a strange.
This is one of the
Yeah,
things that would
this
just slam and
kinda-
flip your other robot.
Yeah, that's kind of like what this is for sure. This doesn't seem practical. The legs being like that though.
I mean, he will be a character that you'll fall in love with. The main thing in
It's
a
true,
film
he
is
will.
if you
I
really
definitely
like
fell
the
in love
character and
with
care
this
what that
character when I was a
wants,
kid.
The main character, you're probably going to like the film. You know, if you get involved in what number 5 wants in the film, and in this case is to be alive, to be considered alive.
The end of Short Circuit, spoiler people, if you haven't seen it, watch this to the end. Or is it? Or is the end of part 2 where that happens?
Right there.
Where
This could really do
he
very
becomes
well.
an American citizen?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's the end of part
yeah,
2 because
that's
all
in
the
the
more
two, yeah.
he's in front of
Toronto
Queen's
City
Park.
Hall. Yeah, right.
or something
Exactly.
like that, to like become an American citizen. But that's also how Mac and Me ends.
Yeah, that's true. There were a bunch of kids movies at that time were about the alien getting
Specifically
citizenship.
becoming American
Yeah,
citizen,
yeah.
like and having to put their hand on the Bible like that meant anything to them, and swear to the flag like that meant anything to them.
I mean, those fucking aliens couldn't figure out that they needed Coke. So of course,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
How
So-
would they know? Apparently, the voice of number 5 is an actor named Tim Blaney, who also voiced Frank the Pug in the Men in Black movies.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I mean, that's caliber right there.
Oh yeah. I mean, you're getting quality when you're getting Frank the
We
Pug
had,
level.
we had screen time with Johnny Knoxville back in Men in Black 2.
There you go. He's seen all the Johnnies.
See, that means something different too. Let's derail ourselves from Johnny 5 for a second, and we'll go back to Steve Guttenberg, because as much as we say that he's forgotten, the Sci-Fi Network made not one, but 2 films that are specifically a tribute to Steve Guttenberg.
Oh no.
Which was just, that's why he was so like on guard, because he thought maybe giant spiders were coming.
Yeah, he was prepared. Oh look, there's the
Yeah.
Hollywood sign all burnt up.
Yeah, like he knew.
Do you think he learned about moving the cars by making this movie?
Right. This all inspired him, because he had to like get things to push the giant lantulas. In other words.
These guns are amazing. They look like they should be 50 or 100 pounds, but he's just like moving them like they're cardboard.
Yeah.
Hey, wait, is it Mahoney?
One more time. I can fry an egg on my face.
Oh, or Don Johnson, apparently. It's Miami
Right.
Vice.
Yeah. It's all done meta. So he's like a has-been Hollywood actor with his friends, Hollywood has-been actors. Who they allude basically they're those guys.
So they're not 100% playing themselves, but they're kind of playing themselves.
Kind of playing themselves, yeah. And all these other like 80s has-beens that appear in there too.
This is amazing.
That's the bad guy from Karate Kid. Just too long.
Yeah, right,
Too
okay. Gargantulantulas.
What? Mama Lantulantulas.
Mama Lantula.
Gargantulantulas.
Gargantulantulas?
No, with a G-A-R. Gargantulantulas.
Gargantulantulas.
Say it slow.
Say it slow. Oh, such authority.
But then he mainly teams up with the kid from the Big Game or whatever it was, the Big Green, the soccer movie
okay.
where he does and like they constantly joke like, didn't we meet before when I was younger? And like, but so they constantly break.
Wait,
the fourth
is he
wall.
in the Big Green? Is he the like male lead?
Yeah,
in
because
the
he
Big
did
Green?
like 5 different Coach movies after Mighty Ducks.
I remember seeing the Big Green for my 10th or whatever birthday party. Whenever that movie came out, that was my birthday film that I went to.
Hypothetically, Jessica, what would you do?
Cut off his head, I guess.
Wrap him up in saran wrap.
Oh, I recognize that guy.
What do you have in mind? You line up the blade.
A blonde. Yeah, wait, all of a sudden, Gutte has my hair in this movie.
He's looking good.
But the other fake Keanu Reeves is James Duvall of Donnie Darko and Doom Generation.
Yeah, okay.
This is basically a not good ripoff of Intruder, the Sam Raimi film, where they're all in a grocery store
yeah.
or a serial killer's getting them. But they're just in like a L.A. liquor store / variety store.
Just that's all they could afford. They couldn't get a whole department store or grocery store.
He's killing us in the ways that we said we'd kill him.
And whoever is killing us in the way he said we kill him.
I mean, what a line.
Yeah, like, definitely like no budget ripoff of Scream. And that girl is so exactly the early 2000s slasher movie
hair.
girl.
I had that hair. I dyed my hair like that one when I was a teenager.
Cornered, gassed.
The bad guy kind of looks like I'm trying to think of what there's another horror series where he's got like a mask like that.
There's the movie Zipper Face that is a very famous cover. It's again, he just looks like he's in a gimp suit.
Yeah, that's what that guy looked like. Was in a gimp suit.
There's the Collector series that you may have seen the posters for that.
Yes.
He has this kind of like rubber face mask that's stuck onto his face.
That's exactly what I'm thinking of as the Collector series. Yeah, you're right. Wow.
But when you see him in the movie more clearly next to the weird lighting in these, he's just a guy in like a leather gimp mask.
I mean, they couldn't afford to get a whole grocery store. So they couldn't afford to do a good monster. They just
That's one of those movies that writes like I write it, where they said corner store and they're cornered. They're stuck against the wall, so it's cornered store.
It's so fucking stupid that I didn't even get that was the gag of the title. Oh my god, that's the best.
As if Clerks was a horror movie is basically what it is.
That looks great. Well, I think we should be doing a double bill of that and two lava, two lantula very soon. Or I guess one lava, one lantula. Is
there
that
are
what the
other
first one's called?
but the first one's just called Lava Lantula.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
but
guess
then they
makes
just
more
made
sense.
fun of Fast and Furious because both movies are like super meta. The other random people from Police Academy show up in it as well. I think the short woman who she's famous for yelling.
Yeah, and she has the really high-pitched voice. She sounds
right.
Yeah.
And then she just says, "Freeze, motherfuckers," or whatever the hell she says, or the scumbags, or whatever she says.
Don't move, dirtbag!
I think she's in it too, but and lots of other wink winks to like it being a meta Steve Guttenberg movie. It feels like the movie was made after this fire thing because it feels like that's what it's about. It's so weird.
Do you think that like all of those actors that were in the Police Academy movies like resent Steve Guttenberg? Because we do kind of consider that to be a Steve Guttenberg movie, even though they went on to make an equal amount more movies after he left.
Yeah.
Wow.
With like the chief's nephew as like the new sort of nice haired guy. That was the generic like leader, nice hair. I refer to that kind of character as the Cyclops of any team. He's just a sort of generic, somewhat attractive white guy.
Yeah, you can just switch him out. He looks atypical. Yeah,
it wasn't difficult to do.
I guess Steve Guttenberg is atypical.
I mean, kind of a little bit. I mean, I think he's an enjoyable one of them. But as I said in Golden Girls in an episode, when Blanche said she had a sexy dream of sleeping with all three members from Three Men and a Baby, and she said, but she was woken up and all she'd slept with was Steve Guttenberg. She was disappointed she didn't get onto the other two.
Oh, well, I mean, when you got Ted Danson, I can understand.
And Magnum P.I.
Well, yeah, and that mustache. Who wants a mustache ride? It's Betty White. I've been one thing that I've been doing recently is I've been running all of my tapes through the Premiere AI transcription bot, so I can take
you dirty AI bastard. Right, that's why LA was on fire.
I can take all my tapes and I can get them transcribed, like auto transcribed, and then I can search for keywords. So I searched for Guttenberg amidst the 1,400 tapes that I've already transcribed, and I put together a reel of all the random stuff that mentions Steve Guttenberg. And sometimes it's movie trailers, and sometimes it's totally random. So this is my AI reel of Steve Guttenberg before we get to the main
Super Goot, we'll call this section.
The Bills end their long losing streak at Cleveland, winning in a rout 42-0. Now stay tuned. Coming up next on NBC, it's the story behind the story, followed by life stories, and then Tom Selleck, Ted Danson, Steve
Cleveland
Guttenberg,
ate it
starring
at that
Three Men and a Baby.
Bob Network premiere, 3 Men and a Baby, coming up.
I mean, I do like that movie a lot.
Yeah, it's a good movie. Totally.
Fuzzy McGee. There was a man.
I just saw this clip somewhere the other day.
Really? Maybe I sent it to you.
No, like a whole bunch of just Al Bundy clips just came up on somebody's post.
There you go, Steve Guttenberg. There, that's him. That's all it was. He just says Steve
goofy,
Guttenberg.
limping, word mispronouncing sidekicks they could be. But instead they want to be
Is Steve
stars.
Guttenberg a sidekick? I don't think so.
Are you saying they should have been, but they wanted to be
have.
stars, but they could have done better if they stayed if they became sidekicks?
I don't think that's true. I think the
But Fuzzy
Goot
knew
did
his
just
place.
fine.
He was a sidekick. He was a wuzzy sidekick, wasn't he? He really was.
I never watched this show.
Have you ever wondered if there is sex after death?
Oh, yes.
Or if there is love?
I actually quite like this movie too.
Yeah, this
I'm
is
an
a good
American,
one.
it would never work out. The spirits are willing, but the flesh is weak.
What a time. Get somebody like Peter O'Toole into a movie like this.
Steve Guttenberg.
Maybe we should get some moisturizer.
High spirits. You haven't lived.
I bet you they were high.
Until you died.
Now at select theaters.
Look at that beautiful
Check
old famous
newspapers for
players logo.
showtime.
Man, missed that.
Friday on Global, the stars come out to shine as the Hollywood Foreign Press Association honors the best of the year's film and television at the 48th Annual Golden Globe Awards with host Dana Delaney and Steve Guttenberg. It's
Dana
the
Delaney.
Golden Globe
Remember Dana
Awards,
Delaney?
Friday at 8 on Global.
It was always 3 bachelors and their babes.
So many women in so little time.
Then she came along.
That's a baby. Of course it's a baby.
I guess this is the same network television premiere that they were talking about on the, during the football game.
The blockbuster movie.
Your turn to change her. I'll give you $1,000 if you'll do it.
3 men and a baby tonight.
$1,000.
My only factoid I have about that, other than the ghost that everyone used to remember
From
about that,
right.
Pictures.
was a
America's
cardboard cutout.
Funniest Family is back. Tom Selleck.
Yeah, it was just a cardboard cutout of
12,000 people.
Like a little drummer boy or something.
yeah, or something like that. Yeah.
Steve Guttenberg.
Yeah, man, not many people remember this though.
I mean, I'm sure I've seen it, but no,
Oh, I
do
for
not.
sure have.
But
I
I've
think
seen
I
the
have it on
other one.
VHS.
Believe that I was
That's
constipated.
where it
3
deserves to
men and a
live.
little lady.
Yeah, I don't think you could ever see it. Either.
Starts Friday, November 23rd at a theater near you.
Oh, is that one? 3 Men and a Baby was one of those French movies turned into
yeah, 3 Men in a Crib.
And its adversaries. Baghdad expels a number of diplomats while warning its people to prepare for war.
In entertainment,
light.
Elaine Loring chats with
Oh,
Steve
yeah.
Guttenberg, the star of a new movie, Don't Tell Her It's Me.
Also ahead, Now magazine.
That's it.
Off the
Look at that
hook.
fucking hair.
Soliciting
Wasn't that hair
charges are dropped,
amazing?
and Simon
Yeah,
Dingley
he's
will
dressed
tell
up
us
like
why.
That's Global
Lorenzo
News. Then
Lamas.
nice
I
to
mean,
see you
he-
after these
His
messages.
biker movies.
Kind of, yeah, kind of, or like Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Right.
Stronger than ever.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Funnier than ever. The cadets are back in
Funnier
Police
than
Academy.
ever.
Citizens
I think they
on patrol.
peaked
get to pack heat?
at the first
Guttenberg,
one
Bubba
with
Smith,
these
and
movies.
Bob
It never got
Goldthwait.
funnier.
Police Academy 4, Citizens on Patrol.
This
Tuesday.
is the last one.
This
that
is the
he was
last
in.
one.
From
Yeah.
CBS News, this is Health Watch. High blood pressure often means taking medication for the rest of your life. In a moment, a surprisingly simple way to prevent it.
Watch Police Academy.
And then the tape cutout. So I have no idea what the surprisingly simple way to lower your high blood pressure is. I'm sorry, folks. I thought I could help, but
But was that
apparently
did
not.
that just come on right after the Police Academy?
Yeah,
commercial?
exactly. That just rolled right on, and then the tape cut out basically just after that. So I have no idea what the tip was.
The reason that the Police Academy movies did not get better than the first one is because the first one was dirty. The first one was like a National Lampoon's kind of
Yeah,
written
that's true.
thing. So because it ends with, does it not end with what is weird to think about? Because at that time, Punky Brewster was probably on TV or was about to be, and the chief was Punky Brewster's dad. But it ends in a scene where he thinks Steve Guttenberg gave him a blowjob.
A real
It just
family
goes-
movie. Yeah, I can remember watching that one with my dad and him laughing at that scene and not understanding why that was funny as a kid. But
There's a
you know.
great Steve Guttenberg bit at the beginning, which has him in really tight shorts, and he puts a balloon in his shorts when he goes to get tailored for his police uniform. And there's like, I think like a hot woman is doing the like inseaming of people,
Yeah.
and she like grabs it, so she gets a pin and she pops it. And he goes, "Oh my!" and like laughs it off.
Oh, those movies are so ridiculous. Ridiculous.
No, they're fully ridiculous.
Yes,
Not
they're
just
fully
ridiculous.
ridiculous. Sorry. I kind of wish that I was showing one of the Police Academy movies, but no, it's of course Short Circuit. It's got to be Short Circuit, which is taped off of CityTV in 1988, I think, is when this recording's from. And then on top of that, I have a very special rare pilot episode for a series from 1982 called No Soap Radio. It's a sitcom. It only lasted 5 episodes before getting canceled. And Steve Guttenberg's the lead. It's like set in a like a hotel, and he's like the hotel manager.
Right.
But then there's like weird cutaway scenes, kind of like Family Guy does their weird cutaways. So I can see why it didn't go anywhere, but Steve is quite funny in it. So we're going to play that.
Instead of it showing up once online, it felt like an episode of Wings. I don't know why.
Yeah,
just the way it was filmed. Maybe the time period it was made.
Yeah, maybe. It's just it just was not successful. It just didn't get to go past 5 episodes. And
Was there any other names in there?
Let's see. Who are the other?
I feel like there was maybe some famous sitcom people before their fame.
Oh, Edie McClurg is in it.
Oh, well, that's note for people like me, but
yeah,
I don't know about the rest of the world that does that.
Jerry Marin's in it. But Hillary B. Smith, Stuart Pankin. I know that guy. He's like
sounds like the Bizarro Universe Mandy Patinkin.
Yeah. You'll recognize him when he comes up. Bill Dana and then Fran Ryan. That's the main cast.
It just sound like random names. It sounds like random first names.
You're gonna recognize some of them, especially Stuart Pankin. He's one of those guys that shows up in a lot of different things. I do have one last little tidbit of Steve Guttenberg footage. This is a small EPK interview, and it gives a little bit of history of Steve Guttenberg up until that time.
It's Crosby.
Behind the laughs.
7 years ago, Steve Guttenberg was a messenger in New
Newton
York.
Crosby.
Today,
what a fucking
he is delivering
name in this
top
movie.
performances as one of
Newton
Hollywood's most
Crosby.
versatile young actors. In his newest film, Short Circuit, he portrays a genius scientist who creates an aming robot.
I love acting, and I love being able
That's a
to
big portrayal
portray
for him.
someone,
I
love acting.
And give reality to
because that's what
someone
acting
who's not
does.
real,
Portray.
someone who's fictitious.
Gutenberg first gained national attention in the film Diner.
I could never
Recently,
be
he
this
was seen in
intelligent.
such hits as Cocoon and the Police Academy movies. He also starred in television's
Also a
highly
classic. I love
acclaimed movie,
Cocoon.
The Day After.
You have to look at each film as you would
Oh,
look
that
at
I wish I
a
had a
person.
copy of.
Each person
but I
different.
don't. I
Each
don't
film
have
is
the day
different.
after.
Dr. Love, I'd like to get my robot back.
But he's scared.
I hope he
Steve
invested
co-stars in
right,
the
because
film
when you
with
think
Ali
about it,
Sheedy.
he may
And
not
what
have had like
impresses
a
Ali
major
is his easygoing
TV job
style
like
off the
the other
screen.
two guys.
Steve
with
has very
with
great
Random
attitude,
Baby,
and he's really
but he
happy,
technically
and he's
had
very
more
infectious,
bigger
and I just like being
movies
around him.
at
Oh,
one
yeah.
period of time.
Yeah,
One of
yeah,
the
then it
main
just
definitely.
kinda
reasons
ended.
Gutenberg
Yeah,
accepted
he
his
was the
role
lead in a
was
lot
the
of big
opportunity
hits.
to work with director
sure.
John Badham, whose credits include Saturday Night Fever, War Games, and Blue Thunder.
When he talks, the smart thing
A lot of
to
happy
do is
movies
listen.
there.
Not as
He
good
knows
as
how to make a movie.
John
He knows how to
Goodham.
make it great.
It's too big.
Or just John Hamm.
Almost crybaby time. But
He's
just
the
keep it a
bad
little
Ham.
stronger.
That one's just Ham.
Okay, look, it's malfunctioning.
I'd rather
Cast
slice
as
them.
the designer of Number 5, a high-tech robot,
Oh, I
Steve
think it's
knew
that
his
guy from,
biggest challenge
MASH.
would
Rizzo
be to
or
bring
whatever.
life to an inanimate
No, wasn't that the guy
object.
from Police Academy?
Yeah, he's also
So
in
it's gotta be
Police
two?
Academy. Yeah, but
Yeah.
here he plays the
And
bad guy.
what
That's
my
right, he is
job
in Police
is
Academy.
to make it real
I recognize
to
him
the
from
audience
MASH, of
and
course.
real to myself.
Because they had
After
like
a few scenes
Police
working
Academy 1
together,
and 2, they have the
Steve
same
felt that
villains, but
Number
they're not the
5
same
was not a
guys. They're just
machine,
like really
but simply
similar.
a
Yeah,
fellow
right.
player.
Number 5 is really terrific to work with because he's really lifelike and animated. And his eyes move and his everything moves
Animated,
on
like
him.
me.
So
I'm
it's
really
very, very
lifelike
easy
and
to
animated
act with
too.
him. Anybody try the
I'm
Holy
Steve
Device yet?
Guttenberg. I'm
As
not
an
a
actor,
robot.
Gutenberg's sole purpose is to please the audience.
I'm
and he
not
hopes his
making a
work in
judgment
Short
on Steve
Circuit will
Guttenberg, but
do
by
just
looking at him
that.
in that
Whether
little
you're
skinny
7 years
guy,
old,
he
whether you're
is
30,
exemplary
whether
of
you're
an
90,
80s
I think
guy
that there's
who
something in
just
this movie for
commonly did
everybody.
cocaine.
Oh, yeah. Look at those eyes. Look at how
Like, it wasn't
happy
a problem.
he is.
It was just that's how you got through the day. It wasn't one of the dark sides of cocaine. It was the fun side of 80s cocaine.
Well, I mean, he was definitely around at a time when that's just how you got through the day, right? You're working beside a robot,
Yeah.
and a white guy playing an Indian dude, and I mean, what are you gonna do? You're listening to some crazy director.
When Short
yelling
Circuit
at
came
you.
out, the movie My Science Project was out around the same time. It was very weird because Fisher Stevens, in my mind, were not the same person. Like they star in both those movies as the sidekick, basically.
But not the same person. Yeah.
No, I didn't know until like way later they were the same guy.
Yeah, and I mean maybe that's a testament to Fisher Stevens' like acting chops, but also what a time period.
Before we go, I will offer this. Unless you want to do this as a bonus, because we could name drop just doing a bonus video for your page. But I have that recent bag of commercial tapes that came in and wanted to share some of them with you.
Yeah, we can record a bonus. Right. Yeah, let's do that. Or we can just make it a Video Hosers bonus thing.
So then what it means is that if you're hearing me say this on the WOC page, you're going to have to look around at our other social media to see the bonus bit where I show some fairly large stacks of really bad tapes.
Oh, I can't wait.
This is the only one that I can just reach from right here. Is just
oh my God, look at all that. I saw Star Trek.
Yeah, you're keen eye there, nerd. So yeah, so tune back in and you'll see that video as a separate thing. But I guess now it's time to get our Gutte on.
Steve Guttenberg. Well, thanks, Adam. Thanks for joining. Everybody enjoy the masterpiece that is Short Circuit, and maybe not a masterpiece, No Soap Radio, coming up after Short Circuits. Enjoy the commercials. Enjoy the laughs. Adam, have a great night. We'll see you soon.
And you all have a Gutte time.
It is going to be a Gutte time.
Steve Guttenberg.